In today's video, we'll be looking at how to fix a seam issue as well as misalignment issue of individual images, which will be used in order to create an overall panorama images inside of Affinity. So if you want to follow along with this tutorial, please find the link for the images in the description. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit the subscribe button for more tips and tricks related to Affinity. Now with that said, let's start the video. So first of all, let's bring in our image. And to bring in our image, I'll simply navigate up and select File. Navigate below and hover over New Image Process. And then select Panorama. Now inside of the Panorama box, let's add in the new images. I'll simply click on the Add button. And then I'll select all the Panorama images right here and click on Open. After clicking on Open, you can see that we have individual Panorama images right here. And now we need to stitch each individual panorama images. And in order to stitch, I'll simply click on Stitch Panorama. So now it processes our panorama images and then forms an entire view of panorama images, which we can preview inside of the panoramas section right here in New Panorama box. And now let's click OK to commit. And now this will create a new panorama image like so. And in addition to that, it also has navigated us to Panorama user interface inside of Affinity. So we'll be looking at the new tool, that is this particular tool called Transform Source Image tool. So if you click on it, you can see that we can select individual section of the panorama images. So what this basically allows us to do is, as the name of the tool implies, whenever there is any issues related to misalignment of that particular image with the images that are available in the surrounding areas or neighboring images, then we can simply move or rotate or even resize that particular image in order to fix the misalignment issue that persists with that particular portion or areas of the image inside of the overall panorama image. So for example, let's say if there was a certain misalignment issue at the edges or in these particular overlapping areas, we can simply click on this particular image and then move around in order to fix that misalignment issue, and then make that image align well with the neighboring image, which will fix our misalignment issue that might exist in our panorama image. So the next tool that we have is this particular tool called Add to Source Image Mask tool. So right now, if I zoom in, you might not see that there are an issue here. However, if I change our tool to, let's say if I select the Transform Source Image tool again, or if I select the Hand tool, then you can see that we have an issue that persists here. If I zoom in, then there's a certain blending issue. As you can see, there is a seam right here, which is only slightly visible. So in order to fix that, we can simply select this particular Add to Source Image Mask tool. And after selecting that tool, if I zoom out, you can see that it is for now selecting this particular image by automatically analyzing our zoom in ratio and selecting that image. However, we can select other images as well by simply clicking on other images like so. And now this will select other images as well, as you can see here. And we can fix around the areas by masking in the portion or information of the image in order to fix the seam issues or the blending issues with the neighboring images. So in this image or in this example, I'll simply click on this particular image. And since we have an issue or the blending issue in this particular area, I can simply brush over these areas like so in order to mask in those areas so that it will blend well with the neighboring image next to this particular image. So now the next thing that we'll be doing, we'll simply navigate up and select the render button right here, and this will render in properly by fixing those blending or seam issues. So we'll now look into the next tool, which is Erase from Source Image Mask tool. So after we select that tool, you can see that it is highlighting only the areas where we have recently applied the Source Mask brush tool. So what this tool basically allows us to do is we can simply brush over the areas in order to erase that certain portion of areas. For example, if you brush in here, you can see that it is erasing the top portion right here. As you can see here, it's erasing the top portion, and we can simply brush out or mask out these particular portion as well, and only keep in the areas that had the blending issues inside of the mask. So now, after we have erased out the areas, we can simply navigate up and click on render to render it. And now after clicking on render, now I'll use the shortcut key of command plus 0 in order to fit our screen to entire view. So now if we select the zoom tool and then zoom in this area, then you can see that the blending seam issue is no longer there and it has been fixed. And similarly, we can also use the hand tool by holding down the space bar key in order to pan around and see the other parts of the image as well. And now after we have fixed that issue, let's select the crop tool. And after selecting the crop tool, let's resize our panorama image like so. Let's resize it to cover the every information that exists inside of our image like so. And now let's navigate above and click on apply. So now this will fix any of the seams or any of the misalignment issue that you have inside of your panorama images and give you much more control in order to fix panorama related issues. So if you find this video helpful, please click on the like button, and for more tips and tricks related to Affinity, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video and see you on the next video.